Hi, my name's Rob Scott from UC Today News, and in this session I'm joined by Rufus Grigg, who's the Chief Strategy and Technology Officer at Kerv. Welcome, Rufus. How's it going?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Good to see you, Rob. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. So, as we enter 2023, the business communication stack continues to evolve. Changes to work styles and workplaces have applied continued pressure on business leaders to embrace the new era of hybrid working. So, at the very heart of the IT conversation, as you know, Rufus, is Microsoft Teams and how companies can go all in on Teams for a fully comprehensive UC experience with a complete set of PBX or phone system type capabilities. So just to set the scene, Rufus, fully enabling Teams as a fully fledged phone system continues to be a popular move for companies. Why are so many companies selecting this option?
I think to paraphrase the guy when he was asked, why did you climb Mount Everest? Because it's there. Teams has had this amazing role in business, really since the pandemic, in terms of it was the savior that lots of organizations turned to help connect their remote staff. It's part of the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 stack. It tends to be installed with every Office productivity suite, and it does a pretty good job of a lot of things. Whether it's your meetings, video meetings or audio meetings, whether it's instant messaging, the ability to share and collaborate on files. It's kind of the de facto tool that's there, and I think it's pretty natural that as it's been people's communication tool for every other medium, why not evolve that to be your telephony platform as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly has been popular. And recent numbers, what is it now? 280 million monthly active users. So that's just popped up another 10 million, I think, on last year's numbers. So amazing to see the growth of the platform.
Yeah, and you can see why, because it just, it does deliver the majority of things you need to make that hybrid working work.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's not all straightforward, though, is it? What kinds of challenges are, organizations having enabling Teams, certainly with, like things like cloud voice?
So I think, part of it is about where Teams comes from and its origins and the way that it's looked after in a lot of organizations. It's fundamentally that IT tool. Telecoms is that little bit different from managing standard IT and messaging. It has its own foibles. It has its own particular requirements. High availability is a real issue for voice. And if you can't get hold of people on the phone, that's a real problem in business. And, we do occasionally have, we had one in January this month where we had that, a few hours of Microsoft 365 being out. I think the telephony platform within Teams is it's amazing considering how quickly Microsoft got there, but it does miss some of the mature features that the more established telephony platforms would have around how you work with hunt groups, how you divert calls, and the setup as well is pretty clunky. If you are a script kid who's very happy writing PowerShell commands, then you're great and you're away. But that's not most people who are trying to get their business telephony up and running. So there are a few, so we say, rough edges around the Teams telephony platform that if you can smooth those off and sort them out, really does make the massive difference between both the adoption and the quality of the delivery you can get putting telephony into Teams.
Great. So, how do we get from good to great? What kind of solution should companies be looking for?
Well, I'm going to talk about our solution, which is Voxevo for Teams, which really provides that enterprise-grade telephony that sits and supports Microsoft Teams. So the user will see Microsoft Teams on the desktop or on the mobile, on their PC or their Mac, or whichever tool that they use to access Teams, and they'll call their contacts in the same way that they would, with the mouse or the touchscreen on Teams, but it provides some of that additional capability underneath that you'd expect from an enterprise telephony platform. So, for example, the ability to record calls if you're in a compliance environment where that's important, or even record the instant messages if that's important to you too. If you're taking payments, if you're taking card payments in your business, the ability to manage the PCI payment protection. that high availability that if Teams is having a funny 5 minutes, you can divert your calls to an alternate number or to an alternate location, to your mobile, to a desk phone. All sorts of things like the ability to offer contact center. Every business, however informal that contact center might be, has got an IT team or a HR help desk or somewhere that needs not only to be able to take a lot of calls, but to be able to monitor how well they're performing against these calls. Right up to the high end contact centers in the larger organizations. So there are a lot of those extra pieces that a tool like Voxivo for Teams can bring to really plug that gap between what you get out of the box with Teams and a true enterprise-grade telephony platform.
And I think that's the crux of today's conversation, isn't it? Kind of bridging that gap between what some consider, not really or fairly standard, basic telephony and, real enterprise class, capabilities. And I think that's where Voxivo, by the sounds of things, really plugging that gap for a lot of companies. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is, and it's the sort of thing that you don't miss until you don't have it. The complexity of the hunt groups. How do I actually set up my routing? What happens when it's a bank holiday and I need to handle calls differently? All of those sorts of the what if scenarios, the things that, frankly, in enterprise telephony we've had. Since Alexander Graham Bell to get right, we're just plugging that gap and bringing Teams up to that same level.
Yeah, but in my day, I've installed hundreds of phone systems as a tech before, and there was nothing worse than putting a new phone system in, and all of a sudden you've discovered that the new phone system hasn't got a feature that the old one had, and because it becomes like organisations kind of get ingrained in these ways of doing things, don't they? So I can imagine Teams going into an environment fairly naked wouldn't be able to offer maybe all the features of a conventional enterprise PBX, for example. So, yeah, I can see where we're going here, and it sounds like having that that kind of Teams capability or Teams enabled platform plugged in to Teams, is the perfect answer. So, in terms of how you take this product, to market, how do you implement it for your customers? Talk us through that, please.
Okay, so at Kerv, we do have a very strong skill set right across the whole of the Microsoft space, as well as understanding telephony. So we can understand the Teams requirements, how you're managing the security around Teams, how you're because with all the document sharing and other things, you've got to make sure that you get that piece right. How can you manage the Teams adoption, making sure people are using it in a consistent way, getting value from it? With a unified comms tool or collaboration tool, you're only going to get your return on investment if people actually use it and actually use it in the way that you expected them to. We'll be looking at the other points of interface as well, setting up Teams meeting rooms so that you can collaborate, in a genuine hybrid world. Hybrid means I've got some people in the office and I've got some people at home and I've got some people on the customer site and some people traveling. And it's important to make sure you're getting a great experience for all of those users wherever they are. So we'll work with our customers, understanding how Teams is playing a role in their business today, if it is, where it can take them, what they can get out of it, what they're using it as a platform to be able to enable that collaboration and workflow, and to migrate where they're at today from their telephony into Teams to give them that really joined up experience, that one tool which enables their users to communicate and collaborate with each other, with their customers, with their partners and their suppliers.
That's fantastic. Well, for anyone out there looking to find out more about Voxivo for Teams and Kerv, what's the best way to get in touch?
Well, it being the 21st century, I'd go to our website, www.kerv.com, and look for Voxivo for Teams, and you'll find lots of information. And do please press on the button to get in touch, and one of our people will be happy to talk to you.
That's great. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. Rufus, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you've got some good takeaways from today's session, do give us a quick mention on social and subscribe to our channel for more industry news and insights. I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.